the Twitter machine.
Thank y'all.
Crossing 8K easily.
Well, I mean, easily.
Also, shout out to all of you out there who tune into us regularly and did your part to tell your fellow Bulls fans to come follow our team account.
Shout out Red Hot Chili Peppers.
We love you.
Oh, is it just because you were just starting to sing the song easily?
Yes, exactly why. It's the jam.
It's the whitest thing you've ever said. You had to be here.
Greatest rock album I've ever heard in my life. Californication. That's the best one.
It's a good one.
Oh, it's amazing.
Bulls are off today, but we're here talking, and we figured something we could talk about was some of the latest brilliant work from our guy, Willie Gottlieb, about some potential buyout market candidates.
He is brilliant.
The Bulls may want to take a look at because the Bulls have that open roster spot. And, boy, I mean, Tristan Thompson, Patrick Beverley, who comes next in this great legacy line of, well, we didn't make any trade deadline moves, but here, 14-9.
Oh, man.
You excited? You excited to talk buyout options?
I am actually excited to talk buyout options because I am a Bulls fan.
I'm glad someone is.
And I love this kind of shit.
Because,
so give it all to me.
Let's be clear, Goat. I am not faulting you for the way that I feel about this, but as I was reading your buyout candidates column, I was like, don't want.
Well, I made it very clear that, like, I think the Bulls fans have been conditioned to believe that this is going to be some, like, really important game-changing signing because 14-9. But in reality, like, these guys are, you know, scraping the bottom of the barrel because they've gotten traded around a bunch. And
there's a reason.
There's a reason they're available right now. Mm-hmm. This is the time to make meaningful roster changes was the trade deadline.
Correct.
Was the draft. Was the offseason.
Correct.
That has not happened. These are fringe moves. And there's some interesting players that I think add value, but it's not going to be, you know, whether or not the Bulls go 14-9 the rest of the way, I don't think is going to hinge on whoever they do or don't sign here.
Yeah.
In the buyout market.
Shout out to Rick Ski Man, who said, how the hell can you know what to get on the buyout market when you haven't even tried out the stuff you have, meaning Anuralp Patim and Adama Sanogo. Drew is saying whatever helps us stay competitive. Yeah, that's the goal. Which is why I think, as much as personally as a Bulls fan, I am underwhelmed by their potential options on the buyout market. I would not be surprised to see AK address that open roster spot by adding somebody.
Yeah. Because
we have seen him do it 2 seasons in a row now.
Yeah, and I'm curious to think what you guys feel should be the thing that's added. Because what's weird about this buyout market is there's actually options. Mm-hmm. And there's usually not options for the Bulls during this time. And they took the best available person. And that's not a positive thing because usually the best available person definitely is going to have flaws in the buyout market. But this one, it feels like, okay, you want shooters? We got that. You want some size? We got that. You want some offensive rebounding and some defense? We got that. So it's just depending on, and I'm curious to know what you guys feel, what the Bulls actually need to keep going forward.
Well, maybe before we get into that, we can just talk about how the Bulls can get into the buyout market and what kind of space they have.
Correct. Please tell us the financials, Goat.
So right now, the Bulls obviously have 14 roster spots out of 15. So they do have one empty roster spot. And right now, you're not paying a full, like if you were to pay a veteran's minimum contract for the rest of the year, you're not paying the full veteran minimum. You're paying the prorated rate. So basically, you're paying from now until the rest of the season.
Right.
So that number is approximately $700,000. And the Bulls are about $1.7 million away from the luxury tax. So they could sign someone for more than the vet min. So that actually gets them into a pretty decent spot with regards to maybe like outbidding some of these other teams that could be going after guys, which is great. They have the biennial exception, which is $4.5 million. Obviously, they have the remaining mid-level exception that they did not use from this summer, which is 6.2, and the disabled player exception, which is 10.2. But as I mentioned, they're 1.7 away from the luxury tax. Mm-hmm. That could change depending on a few minor details in Kobe's contract. He has some incentives, but for all intents and purposes, they're going to be about 1.7 away from the tax, which is effectively their hard cap. Mm-hmm. But technically, their hard cap is the first apron, which they are allowed to hit. That's about like $7 million over the luxury tax. I have the number here. Mm-hmm. The first apron is 172. The tax is 165. So they could, in theory, spend about 8.7, but I highly doubt they're going to be spending like that.
Let me ask you, when they sign, or if they can sign, a buyout player, is there a limit to the money of the buyout player that they can sign, or is it just open to whoever's out there?
So usually the way it works is players will, let's do Kyle Lowry, for example. He basically allowed Charlotte, who he was traded to have $1.8 million of his $29 million contract back. He said, you guys take this, you pay me the rest of it, and I'll go sign with another team. So then the 76ers gave him the difference. They gave him the 1.8. So he's still making the full amount of money from his contract this year, but the Hornets are paying for 27.5.
Hornets pay for the bulk of it.
And the Sixers are going to pay for the rest of it. So that's a situation. In some cases, like in Joe Harris, for example, he's one of the guys we're going to talk about here. He's making about 20. If he gets bought out, it would probably be, $19 million and the new team pays $1 million. So that's kind of the way that it works. But then there's also guys who, you could, I think you can sign on a multi-year contract at this point. So in theory, you could give a guy a little bit more money. Maybe he gets bought out for, all but $1 million and you give him $7 million. So he's making a little bit extra. But usually the way that it works is that the team that you're on, they basically get a discount of some small percentage. They pay the rest and let you go elsewhere. The new team pays the difference.
Okay.
Dwayne Knight, shout out in the comments. A great pod. Who do you guys want? Who do you guys want from the buyout market? Amari Green saying if we can get a solid 3-and-D wing, that'd be nice.
Hey,
what's up, Julia? So let's start with a wing. Will, your list had a handful of wings, a handful of power forwards, a guard in there as well. Although obviously we are all aware of the fact that this is already guard-heavy roster. So I think most of us would probably agree with the common sense logic that if you're going to look to add on the buyout market, if you're AK and Eversley, it should be somebody who can play those, the 3 and the 4 spots.
Yeah.
So let's start with, as you mentioned in your column, Will, and I agree, noted Bulls killer, Furkan Korkmaz.
Furkan Korkmaz!
Maybe the funnest NBA player name to say still.
Yeah.
Is there anyone whose name is more fun to say?
I literally just shouted it just for no reason at all.
Korkmaz.
Just Furkan Korkmaz.
There's some football players that I think I'd rather name, but
I also like when Dave says Jakob Poeltl.
Joey likes not say a lot of things. You should listen to Joey when we're doing games. Joey's just basically doing an imitation of me.
Yep.
We're sitting over there watching games. It's hilarious.
So,
It's pretty hilarious.
Korkmaz has gone through a wide range, I think, of size of role for this.
Shut up.
Sixers
He's
team.
averaging 2 points a game?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
That's real?
He's been out of
because
the rotation.
he's averaging 8.6 minutes per game. He's basically
But still,
lost whatever role used to exist for him.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So
I was a little shocked by that.
There
I
you
was.
see,
I was a little surprised.
not even shooting 40% from the field. He is shooting a
wild.
respectable 35% from 3, which I think most often has been the part of his game recognized and respected.
Yes, sir.
Around the NBA.
Yes, sir.
Is that he can kill you from that 3-point line. Bulls fans have seen him do it to us several times. That's why he's on that list of famed Bulls killers. Will, I guess the question, why did you have him on this list? Is it just because he's a wing with some size who can shoot?
pretty much. I mean, the options are limited. I think the other piece there is his age. He's only 26, so it's not like you're just signing a 35-year-old guy who like may or may not actually have anything left in the tank. Like a lot of these guys, Danilo Gallinari, Joe Harris, Marcus Morris, are older guys that have kind of fallen out of the rotation with their respective teams, and now you're just kind of like, I assume they can still play, and maybe they were just out of the rotation for some reason, but maybe what if they can't, and now you've just wasted this buyout opportunity on a guy. So Korkmaz, you know he's still, like, the athleticism is still going to be there, and he had a couple of games. I think the Sixers were trying to, like, put him on display a little bit. He had a 19-point game the other day in 22 minutes, 5 of 6 threes, 6 of 8 from the field. He had a 10-point game following that, 3 of 4 from the field, 1 of 1 on 3. So when he gets minutes, I think he can shoot it. He's not a great defender, but he's 6'7", he's long, and he's the right age. And I think if you are this Bulls team, you need some wings. You don't know what's going on with Patrick at this point.
Right.
Torrey Craig's been kind of out, and Korkmaz is not a big 4, but he can maybe play some 3 and push DeMar up to the 4. You can play Caruso out there. I think he gives you some versatility, some creativity, and some scoring at the right age range. I think that matters to me here.
Yeah, his size at 6'7" gives you options, and the Bulls don't have a lot of options. Because of the smaller guards that they have, you can't. It's hard to cheat with them at other positions unless they're just elite at certain things, like Alex Caruso. He's elite defensively. You can cheat with him at a power forward position, but the Bulls need guys that have size. They lack it, especially at those wing positions. So Furkan Korkmaz has murdered the Bulls constantly, all the time. He's always destroying them. So I feel like even watching how he plays and how he sets up in Philly, he fits a rotation that moves the ball. And the Bulls feel like a rotation that moves the ball. We watched it yesterday, especially watching Kobe White, how he rotated the ball. I'm immediately thinking of the Kobe White play where he rotated the ball to Dalen Terry for his only 3-pointer of the game. So when you get a guy like Furkan Korkmaz in there who's going to be set up at the 3-point line to allow him to get the ball and move in rotation, it fits. It fits the Chicago Bulls, especially with his size and what he can do. Now, he's not a great defender. It's not what he does, but he's tall enough to cheat. And the Bulls, at this point in time, just need guys that can give you something that's lacking and cheat on the rest of it, whether it's the offensive side or the defensive side. Furkan Korkmaz can definitely do that because he can light your ass up because he can shoot the dang-on basketball. He can really shoot the ball, and it's something that the Bulls do not have. It's somebody teams have to actually worry about. They have to start worrying about certain guys like Ayo Dosunmu and Kobe White, and other guys like that. But Furkan Korkmaz comes in, it's immediately somebody you're like, what does he do best? He shoots.
Yeah.
So teams already are going to be like, well, I should look at him. I know that he can shoot the basketball. So they need some people who can cheat at certain positions. And Furkan Korkmaz can fit that role for the Bulls if they decide to go that way.
The other thing that you kind of touched on there that I want to emphasize is the movement shooting.
Yes.
He's a guy that's going to come off screens. He's a guy that you can run actions for off the ball, coming off pin downs, doing some weak side stuff when DeMar is isolating on the strong side. You put him on a strong side corner when there's a pick and roll or a post up for Vooch, and he forces the defense to drag out there and can really, I think, help the spacing on this team. So he's also Turkish. AK's got the European connection. Onur Alpatiem is Turkish, so maybe there's some continuity there. But I think, again, in a group of not super exciting options, he was up there for me.
I don't appreciate that while I'm actually having a sip.
I waited until you started.
Shout out to our guy Fish, who sarcastically said in the comments, Furkan Korkmaz is a defensive monster, and that the Sharks start circling as soon as he checks in. That is something that would be a detractor reason. Because
but you kind of give to get.
He gives you that shooting. He is not going to give you anything on the defensive end.
He's not. He's a kind of give to get kind of player. You know what I mean? Like, what do you most value on your team? Is it the shooting or is it defense?
And I think Bulls fans have been driven crazy for the last few years how this roster has been assembled.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of one-way players and not enough two-way players.
A lot.
Whether it's Zach and DeMar on the offensive end and being defensive liabilities.
Right.
Bulls fans also making that argument with Vooch at times.
Right.
And then defensive aces like Alex Caruso, Javonte Green.
Yeah.
Okay, but what have you done for me as far as bucket getting?
Who?
And this season, because of the out of nowhere shooting numbers for Caruso, now Caruso can make an argument as a two-way player, but so many one-way players, and you're just banging your head against a brick wall, saying, if we sign one more one-way player, I'm going to lose it.
But again, this is not like you're going shopping for stars here. This is 12th men who can step in and give you some minutes when guys ahead of him are injured.
Yes.
Even Patrick Beverley, I think, was a pretty rare case of a guy stepping up and contributing in the way that he did.
Sure.
I think that the element of movement shooting is really important, and the Bulls don't have anybody that can do that. We're going to see the Cavs tomorrow. They've got Sam Merrill. They've got Max Strus. Darius Garland can do it in certain instances. They've got guys that can really put pressure on you coming off of screens. And whether or not you play that guy for 36 minutes a night, to be able to go to that if you want to, I think is a really valuable weapon that the Bulls just have not had for years. And you can point to Zach and Kobe. Well, they run some pin down stuff for Zach, but like one, he's obviously been out all year.
Yes, sir.
And two, the ball stops with him when he does that. And they don't really, it doesn't allow you to get shots off. You kind of wait for the defense to reset, and then he's trying to get downhill. With Kobe, he's done a lot of great stuff, but a lot of it's kind of spotting up and relocating, but he's not necessarily like, that sort of traditional Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton type of two guard that's coming off of screens that I think can really just put some pressure on that weak side defense and open some stuff up for you on the strong side.
Bulls not quite legend, Rip Hamilton.
Not quite like Man, I was excited when they signed
John
him.
Brennan in the comments saying Thaddeus Young should be the Bulls' top priority. I don't believe it's official and that he's signed, but it sounded like the report from yesterday that he is agreeing to go to Phoenix.
Yes.
I believe he did sign.
And give, he did.
It's a wrap.
And give that playoff-bound team a much-needed boost of depth in their front court.
Yes.
I did see a lot of Bulls fans on Twitter over the last 48 hours be like, oh, my gosh, can we somehow get Thad Young back in a Bulls jersey? Because he was, beloved and appreciated in his brief stint here.
I didn't believe it the second he was out there.
Yeah.
No.
Unlikely to happen and now officially not happening.
That's a good point, though. It's not just that, like, the Bulls get to decide who they want here. You're competing with other teams, and for a lot of these guys who are
going
vets,
to the big boy playoffs.
They want to go to the big boy playoffs. They want to go compete for championships. The Bulls can't offer that. They can offer a chance to be a contributor on a play-in team and, a team that can try to fight and claw its way into the playoffs. But that is something that the Bulls are going to have to compete with if we're talking about competition.
We talking about competition?
Yeah.
Not a game.
Not a game. We talking about competition.
Not the playoffs.
No. I want to send a shout out to our guy Alex Melville over here, who says Joey, get that graphic ready. He's got himself a Sub-Zero shirt.
Yay.
Heading to the land down under.
Let's go.
He's got that shirt, ladies and gentlemen, and you can get yourself one too. The CHGOLocker.com, the shirt or the hoodie.
Now available in the hoodie.
You can get it. They both fly.
We still got at least a few months of hoodie weather.
Oh, yes.
On the horizon. I don't know what's going on in land down under season-wise. But
when they come from
you
the land
Chicago
down
folk.
under.
Summer down there.
Yeah.
He's a man at work. He's a man at work. Matt caught it. Matt the only one that caught it. Matt the only one that caught that.
I got it.
Thank you.
I got it.
Colin Hay references on our Bulls podcast in the span of like a month.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Which
impressed.
even as a multiple in the span of a month is like.
I'm not even mad.
Let's just throw out some Colin Hay shout
Why
outs.
not? Toss some shout outs out there, man.
Dude's got some bangers.
I mean, some serious bangers. But shout out. Make sure you
Colin Hay
all.
in the next Super Bowl halftime show.
Yes. He can carry it. You can dance if you want to. Yeah. You can leave your friends behind. They ain't no friends of mine. Shout out to everybody who's got that Kobe White shirt or hoodie. Make sure you get one if you don't have one. It is completely dope, completely fly. You should have one on your body. I promise you, you won't be disappointed.
Larry Strickland, shout out in the comments saying,
My
how
man,
long does
Lair.
order take? Been waiting. So we make them available to order as they are getting sent to be made.
Yeah.
So I think the first batch of Sub-Zero tees are just getting ready to be shipped out.
They have to be fresh like some donuts, Larry. That's all. They've got to be fresh like some donuts. So we make them to order to make sure you get the best one possible, bro.
Yeah.
Trust me, we ordered ours. You know what I mean? We understand how this process works. But when you get it, oh my God, you're going to be the freshest one in the neighborhood. I promise you that.
Oh my God.
Promise you that. Okay.
Let's take a quick first break here, and then we'll come back, dive into some more names. I saw somebody in the comments mention Fournier. We will get to him. He's on our list, as well as many more. We'll talk Joe Harris. We'll talk Bertans, Danuel House. Plenty more names to get to. We'll touch on several on the other side. While we're doing that, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button if you're watching on YouTube. Helps us out a lot. We appreciate it.
I see you, Dan.
Our guy Joey needs his thumbs. And make sure, if you aren't already, that you go ahead and also subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel.
Talking away.
Dave, you want to talk about it real quick?
Else to say, yes. ComEd, hit me in the face with some ComEd love, baby.
Dave, it's sick. It's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles.
Slap.
Something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
Yes. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van, shout out Lisa, or whether you have a whole fleet of shipping trucks, shout out George, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do, Dave?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question right there, man. I'm so glad you asked me that. Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, as Matt tells you,
Good for you.
and also, don't wait. Start making your plans today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
I did say ComEd.com/clean. Yes, go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
Woo! Today's pod here at CHGO Bulls, also brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America.
Shout out.
It's a whole freaking continent. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers.
Right.
No other competitors.
Right.
Not even AK. You don't even have to be competitive against AK. It's just you versus the numbers.
Getting the digs in.
Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks and maybe AK, you pick more or less on 2 to 6 different player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in.
Hello, Winnings.
PrizePicks is a lot of fun. I enjoy playing it. Winning up to 25x the money that I put down this NBA season. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entries. You know who's cashed me on PrizePicks more than once?
Who that is?
Ayodozumu.
Hey.
Kobe White.
Hey.
Just roll with it, man.
Splash.
PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy that so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. So say you're doing it with NBA basketball. If you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, shout out Lonzo Ball, 2021-22 season.
Wow.
That player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. We all know how frustrating it can be when there isn't one, because we've all been in that scenario. If we play a lot of DFS, if we play a lot of fantasy, if we do some parlaying and whatnot. PrizePicks is really simple to play. Make my picks, submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. I always have that like mental alarm, like, ooh, tip off in 15, still got plenty of time to get my prize picks in. They also have quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO. Use code CHGO. Daily fantasy sports made easy.
No, I immediately thought of Seinfeld when you said mental alarm. That was my first thought right there. Why didn't you set your mental alarm? I trusted you, Jerry. He's supposed to give him to the race. I know Will understands what I'm saying. Supposed to give him to the race. I guess I hit the snooze. Great show.
On his mental alarm.
On his mental alarm.
I guess I hit the snooze.
The brilliance of these jokes.
Man.
Shout out to Seinfeld, man. What a brilliant show. They will be quoted often on here.
Man.
Tune in.
A classic. Absolute classic. I don't know what's going on with the papayas.
I can't mince.
I'm not like a diehard Seinfeld guy, but that's my favorite. Don't even get me started on the papayas. That's like my favorite line.
When Kramer's banned from the fruit stand.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
man.
is so good.
That was really good, man. It's like a B12 shot.
You know who's not as fresh as a fruit stand,
Tell me.
but is on our list of buyout candidates?
Yes.
Evan Fournier. Let's
Oh,
talk Fournier for a second.
Fournier.
Somebody in the comments was talking about him.
So happy to be out in New York.
Did you guys see the love that Vooch gave Fournier when he got traded and
I did.
is anticipating getting on the buyout market? He was clearly
did.
not happy
Yes.
with his lot in life
Correct.
over there in New York. there you see some of his stats from this season. Again, just like Furkan Korkmaz, not really regularly playing. Is this true, Will? He only has 3 appearances thus far this season?
Was when I wrote it.
Wow.
He's still technically a member of the Pistons, and I'm not sure if he's played in any games since then, so those stats might be a couple days outdated. But he really fell out of the rotation even when injuries started to pile up in New York. And yeah, this is exactly the scenario I was talking about. It's like, do you really want to take a risk on a guy who, I mean, he's only 31. It's not like he's in his late 30s here, but he's been out of the rotation. He has not really factored into the Knicks rotation the last couple of years. But he had some productive moments this past summer in the World Cup. And obviously he's got a great relationship with Vooch, playing together in Orlando for many years and being super competitive there in the 1-8 matchups of the playoffs. And also he played for Denver when Arturis was an executive there. Oh. So there's another connection for you.
Connection. To clarify, he has not yet taken the court since getting traded to the Pistons. 2 games, inactive for both.
Yes. But you'll continue to talk about how he balled out in the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, he was great. France was awesome. And I think what he kind of showed in that is that he's got this kind of combination of not just shooting, but also shot creation. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be necessarily just like Korkmaz, where he's coming off of screens. He can do that.
Furkan.
And I think that's where the versatility is. But he's also, I think, able to create a little bit. He was like a 3-ish assists per game guy for the majority of his prime. So it's like he can handle the ball a little bit. He can create plays. He can come off screens. He's obviously got good chemistry with Vooch and playing off of him. So I think that actually could work really well. It's just a matter of whether he actually gets bought out. It's an assumption, I think, at this point that he will, but he has not yet. And he is with the Pistons. And, the Pistons just traded for Simone Fontecchio. They obviously got rid of Alec Burks and Bojan. So there's a chance that they want him to stay and contribute and add some more shooting. That was a real priority for them. Just to put floor spacing around Cade and Ivy and Asar Thompson and all those guys. So not a guarantee that he'll even be available, but I feel like this could be a pretty good just match.
Just screams Goran Dragic to me. Like, I know that was a minor free
Dragic was like
agency signing in addition, but
I guess,
and it's crazy
31.
that I saw that when you were doing your breakdown in this column, and I was like, Evan Fournier is only 31. Yeah. I could have sworn he was 37 or 38. Dude's been around forever.
You don't think he could get a little hot from the line right there, anything like that? Because they need anybody that can shoot an average percentage from 3-point line, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
He is a career 37.8% 3-point shooter.
I mean,
on 5.2 attempts per game.
So the Bulls could legit use a
high volume,
37, 38% 3-point shooter.
High volume, high efficiency.
Yeah, tonight. They're not even playing tonight. But
no, not even playing tonight. Right.
Tonight.
Send him to practice tonight. We can use him right now. Oh, my God.
I need Fournier like I've never needed him before.
I can't believe they give us microphones.
No. Hey, speaking of guys who I am not excited about, Killian Hayes. Here's another name.
That's your boy.
Okay,
love Killian Hayes.
I was high on him coming out of that draft class.
Colossally high.
And I was like, I know that his handles are not ambidextrous.
I remember.
But he can fix that.
I was here for all of it.
And I loved his playmaking coming into that draft.
Where you go, man?
I've watched what he's done in the NBA since he got here and then said, boy, was I wrong about Killian Hayes. There you see his numbers this season. He's averaging 24 minutes a game for Detroit in his 42 games played thus far. So of the names we've talked about thus far, he is actually someone who's playing real minutes this season.
Yeah. You know what, Matt? Though, you know what is wild? The most depressing thing about those numbers that we're looking at right now?
Yes, 7 points, 5 assists, bad overall field goal percentage, not great, not even shooting 30% from 3, 66% free throws. What's the worst part?
The most depressing thing is his age.
He's 22.
He's 22 years old. Because you're like looking at that, and I don't see anything in the numbers that says I'm going to grow. Because usually, when you see guys with a bad 3-point percentage, they have a high field goal percentage. And you're just like, oh, you just can't shoot. We can fix that. Or you see a guy with a low field goal percentage but a high 3-point percentage. Oh, you just need the ball to go inside. You need to get a mid-range game together or something like that. Oh, you can't shoot free throws. We can work on your free throw shooting. It's rare to see a guy at that age who needs to work on all three. And to see him be like, you need all help at all three, you can't play for the Chicago Bulls, bro. We don't need any more projects. We don't need another hero. We don't need many more of these things, all right? We need somebody that can come in immediately and help the team. I don't need another project. If Matt's giving up on you, then I'm giving up on you.
Ryan in the comments said, with Hayes, you have to take the bet that Detroit screwed him up and the Bulls can fix him somehow.
See, I don't need that.
And Ryan said, I don't know if they can.
But, bro, he's bad at literally field goal, 3-point, and free throw.
They're saying this guy cannot shoot.
He's bad at all three. Like, I can't help that, Will.
So, I actually think he was number 2 on my list, but I kind of think I could make a case for him being number 1 on my list.
Oh, talk me into it, Will.
Here's the deal. The Bulls, here's the deal.
What's the deal?
The Bulls are not in a position where they can pass up on potential talent. They didn't have a first-round draft pick this past year.
Okay.
They don't have one next year in all likelihood because it's going to the Spurs.
Yes, sir.
They need to take swings on upside when those swings are available.
Yeah.
And the Bulls, in theory, could sign any buyout target right now to a multi-year contract. It's very rare, but it does happen. So they could bring him in. And this is why you bring in Peter Patton, to develop jump shooters. Because this guy, Killian Hayes, he is a very good passer. He's got great size. He cannot shoot the basketball whatsoever at all. He's a very, very, very bad shooter. But if you are thinking, but if you are thinking long-term here and you're in a position where you are not trading guys to get future assets, like, you got to find the assets somehow. And to me, Killian Hayes is a diamond in the rough where maybe he turns out, maybe he doesn't, but you bring him into your team, and if he works out and you can kind of develop his jump shot at all, great. And if not, it's like on a veteran minimum. You don't have to play him this year. You're playing well without him. I just think this is more of an upside swing than anything else. And look, we've learned the hard way as people who follow the Bulls that a lot of times growth does not happen instantaneously. A lot of times you need a change of scenery in order to really hit your stride. And I'm not saying that Killian Hayes is going to be a great player, but he has some nice tools. He's young. He's got upside. And I feel like if you are confident in your player development staff, why not give this guy a chance?
I can tell you why not. Because it is a waste of time to bring in a guy who can't help you right now. The Bulls clearly want somebody who can help you today, right now.
See?
Those 3 phases, when you're field goal, free throw, and 3-point, and you're trash at all of them, you can't help me right now at this point in time. Also, Killian Hayes is the point guard. I don't need help at that position either. I don't need that right now. I need give me a 3, give me a 4, great. I'll take all that. Mm-hmm. But I need somebody who can do it today. Today. So if you brought me him at the beginning of the year and Peter Patton can work with him and all that shit, great. Wonderful. I'm cool with it, but I need somebody who can come in and actually contribute right now, and Matt Peck has something to say.
Well, yeah, that's where I would disagree with your logic. I think that AK shares that line of thinking, and that's kind of how buyout, waivers, or not waivers, but buyout flyers work.
Sure.
I want somebody who can come in and help this team right now for the remainder of the regular season and maybe a postseason. That is why they went and got Pat Beverly.
Yeah.
That is probably what they're looking to do right now.
Sure.
I don't give a rat's ass about what happens between now and April because I know that nothing significant by my standards as a Bulls fan is happening between now and April. I don't give a crap about, hypothetically speaking, Killian Hayes helping this team between now and April 2024. If they were to take a swing on a previous lottery pick blue chip prospect who did not flourish the way that the team that drafted him wanted him to, but might still be salvageable at only 22 years old, I'm thinking further down the road than 14-9 after the All-Star break.
Matt,
That's why I don't care about we need him to help us right now, because I think that's focusing on the wrong shit.
Well, that road is ass. Because if you're talking and focusing on that road, well, you have to factor in other guys like Kobe White. You have to factor in Lonzo Ball at the same time, Matt. Even though Lonzo Ball is going to be, you say he's 22, Lonzo Ball is 24. You have to factor in those things right there too. Him coming back and being a person that can actually.
You're
help
talking about the
Chicago
log jam in the backcourt.
Yes.
Okay.
It's colossal. It's a constipation going on
with
back
Kobe
there.
and his ascension this season. I agree. I was
Wait,
just
Kobe and Ayo.
I was just talking through the logic
And
of
Caruso.
what's more important right now, the remaining 28 games.
But no, you can't use that logic with a guy like Killian Hayes, who you're like is a project.
Yeah.
I'm talking about somebody who needs to help you right now. Fuck these. No, I'm talking about now.
So that we clearly disagree on that.
Okay.
I don't want him to help us right now. I don't care, and would rather AK look silly in his insistence on remaining competitive for the rest of the season. And as far as using Lonzo as an example of the backcourt logjam, I'm sorry, Lonzo's NBA career is, I hope I'm wrong, over.
No, it's not over.
But even if it's not, again, we've talked about this. I think it's unlikely that he is on the Bulls next year, even if he is healthy, because the Bulls need to clear out space so that they can bring back DeMar, so that they can bring back Patrick Williams. So to me, and I agree with you, Matt, that like positional need, I think it matters on the buyout market. Win now talent typically matters on the buyout market. This instance is so rare where you find a guy who's literally on his rookie contract getting cut. That just doesn't happen. And so I think it's just a different scenario. You need to treat it differently, because this is a chance to basically get a flyer on a young guy. And so to me, I totally agree that like, I would even like, if you wanted a flyer on a young guy and you wanted to go out and get one of these other guys that we've talked about for the prorated veterans minimum, like cut somebody on the back end of your roster and bring in both of them. But like, I just think the Bulls are in a position right now where acquiring talent has to be first and foremost. I think that matters more than
the best
what
case
happens this
scenario
year,
with Killian is significantly higher, I think, than the best case scenario with basically any of the other guys that we're going to talk about.
But how is this talent is my question.
What do you mean?
What have you seen him do to be like, okay, yeah, this dude could be something?
I mean, I haven't seen it in the NBA, but he showed enough.
This is the NBA.
He showed enough flash to get drafted 7th overall.
That don't mean shit.
He's 22 years old.
But none of that means anything.
But
what have you seen him do since he's been here in the league?
You've never seen a player seen a player not succeed in their first 2 or 3 years and then come around and make a difference.
But dude. He's done nothing.
And I'm not putting
absolutely hold on. On a team that lost like 85 games in a row, he's done nothing. And you're talking about, let me go ahead and take a chance on a dude who's on a team that's ass? No. Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense at all. He's done nothing, bro. Nothing. Tell me something he's done, and then I can argue with you.
I'm looking at the list of the rest of the guys, and I'm just not. I don't. That's part of the argument. Is I don't know what else is out there that's even, like you said, helping them today. I don't know what's out there that's like being a huge help today.
Dude, Furkan Korkmaz can help you today more than Killian Hayes can help you today.
Sure, but
that's a fact.
Yes, he can help you more today, but how much more?
More than him. More than that. That's a development of we are not in a position to develop another guard. We are not in that position at all. They don't deserve to be in that position, dog, to develop another guard on a team that's completely trash. No, absolutely not. You should not take any kind of time and waste it on Killian Hayes right now. Nothing has said Killian Hayes should be wasted that time.
I think Killian Hayes is not an ideal example of the larger argument of help you now versus help you maybe later if it's a young player who still has some untapped potential.
You got to show me something. Ben Simmons shows you that he could be an NBA player, and if you're going to take a flyer on him, fine. I can take a flyer on Ben Simmons.
Has he? Recently?
Dude, he's all NBA, all-star. Yes, I can make that argument. I can't make that argument for Killian Hayes, is my point. I can't point to nothing.
He averaged 10 points and 6 assists and a steal and a half last year. It's not like, I agree, he can't shoot. That's the first thing I've said about him. But I just feel like there is something in there that maybe you can try to get out. And to me, taking swings on talent, whether or not it helps you right now, I think should still be a priority for this team.
Not at that. No, I disagree, especially at that position. If he's playing a 4 or he's playing a 3, I'm with you. I already got Kobe White at that position. I already got Ayo Dosunmu at that position. I already got a dude named Lonzo Ball who's trying to combat at that position. I'm not going to go get Killian Hayes and then try to develop that dude to put him at the same position. Absolutely not.
We got to move on. And that part of your argument I am with, other than I still don't think you can use Lonzo as a part of that argument.
That's fine. Okay. Take Lonzo away.
Yeah.
He ain't better than Kobe. He's not better than Ayo.
Again, I'm not arguing any of that.
Sorry.
I'm arguing.
Actually, no. Sorry. I'm not apologizing. No, absolutely not.
There are at least a couple people in the comments. Eric saying, "I would welcome Killian. He can play. He can play make and play defense. We've got the best shooting coach in the NBA. I don't know about that, but the Bulls certainly seem like they have a good shooting coach finally now." Chase and Ashland saying, "We've got great player development. Have you seen Kobe White and Ayo?" Yeah, like there is potential that Killian Hayes could fix his shot. Well, whatever.
Connor puts it well too.
On Dalen?
Connor says
fixing Dalen first.
He's been objectively awful while having ample opportunity to develop, which I think is a fair point. I don't see how that changes with a significantly limited role. That said, taking a shot at potential is fine. So I mean, you're right, Dave. He's there's no way he's coming over from the Pistons and getting more playing time, and he started basically the entire season for them. But
yeah,
I do.
If you
taking
can
a shot
point
at
to me
potential,
and tell me what you've seen to be like, okay, I can take a flyer on this guy, then I'm open. I'm all ears. If you can point to me and tell me like, okay, this dude can be that dude, then I'm all ears, man. But you can't. You can't sit there and be like, oh, he was good at this, this, and this. He's been ass, bro. Like, he's been pure D, 100% ass.
Okay, let's take our second break. Then we'll come back. We'll hustle through some other names. Noted, Killian Hayes. Dave says nay. Hit that like button if you didn't do it the first time around on the first ad break. Subscribe to CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Big Dave, tell us about the wonderful fine people and their great products at Empire Today.
Empire Today! Because all they do is floors no matter what. It's what they do. Because with Empire Today, you get the shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and of course, the always low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring. So of course, they got them copycats out there. People who trying to do what they do, but guess what? They can't do what they do because Empire can't be beaten on quality, service, speed. So you know what the competitors do? Let me tell you what they do. They advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does is putting the flooring in their home that they would not put in their own. Whatever they got on their own floor, they wouldn't do it in their own home. So why would they put you in that situation? Empire cares about you, y'all. They wouldn't do something like that because Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. That is bars, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, they got the virtual floor designer, which is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just go ahead, snap a pic right there. That's all you got to do. And guess what? Instantly see how new floors will look in your room. Shopping for floors at a big box store can be frustrating. You walk in, you see young Taylor, who's 15 years old, who's only been there 2 weeks. Hey, I can help you right now. I need you to come on. What do you need right here? I've only been here 2 weeks. Oh, I can get you a Swiffer. You need a Swiffer? No, Taylor, I don't need a Swiffer. I need some floors. I don't know what that means right there. Well, he can't help you. Quit shopping at them big box stores. They ain't got no love for you. Empire prides themselves on convenient at-home, shop-at-home service. They help customers shop for floors where they use their floors so they can see exactly what their new floors will look like in their homes, lighting, and decor. You like that?
That's universal sign for decor.
That's the universal sign. for decor. Always looking right so they can make an informed decision. There's nobody up on this panel who loves making more informed decisions than the GOAT. You must make an informed decision, and Empire will help you do that. And the service, listen, they service their own warranties. If an issue does arise, just call Empire. Not anybody else to the left, not anybody else to the right. Straight down the pipe, you call Empire, and they service all the warranties themselves. You won't have to track down the manufacturer's phone number. Oh my God, where is it? I forgot where I put it. No! Only one number you got to know. And that's Empires, y'all. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive $350 off. Oh, that's sexy. $350 off when they use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/CHGO for details. You want the number for the warranty and everything? I'm going to give it to you right now. 588-2300. Back Empire
Today.
Ow! Thank you, Joey.
Real quick, shout out to our newest CHGO diehards who've joined the fam. John, Nathan, Andrew, Raymond, Joe, and Matt. Shout out to you, Matt. Great name. Good job. Wonderful benefits. You know them, including the great stuff from Willigo Gottlieb that we keep for diehards art only, including a diehards mailbag that's dropping very soon. Of course, some of that wonderful NFL draft coverage that's right around the corner from our guys over there at CHGO Bears. Adam Hogue and his draft work included. Then it'll be our turn with the NBA draft coming up this summer. The Bulls actually have their own first-round pick.
Will Gottlieb's favorite time of the year.
Bada bing.
Yes.
And then, of course, discounts not only at the merch locker every time you shop, but discounts for all of our fun events, parties, hangouts, takeovers, which, by the way, next CHGO takeover on deck.
Tell me.
CHGO Blackhawks, their crew.
Yes.
Sunday, February 25th.
Yes.
Weekend, 5 o'clock puck drop. Love that. And it's Chris Chelios' jersey retirement night. Come on out.
You better have yourself in the place.
Sign up to be a diehard first so you get a discount on that CHGO Blackhawks takeover coming up later this month.
Yes.
Okay, gentlemen, let's fly through these because we got several more names to get through. I know you included him in your column, Goat, but Marcus Morris sounds like he's heading to Minnesota.
According to the Pat Bev Pod.
According to the Pat Bev Pod, breaking news, including where Pat Bev was getting traded to before Woj broke that. Wonderful. So no need to waste any time on Marcus Morris. Let's talk Danilo Gallinari because Bulls, I saw some fans in the comments asking for some power forwards, some more size. There you see some of his stats from this season. He's at least shooting above 35% from three. This is, as you noted in your column, Will, somebody that was kind of connected to the Bulls a little bit in free agency 2 years ago when he ultimately went to Boston and then tore his ACL.
Yes.
And now you're thinking, okay, you know, he's had an ACL recently. He's 35. Can this guy actually help you? Why did you include him, Will?
Well, he is perhaps the farthest away from Killian Hayes that you can get as far as
old and can shoot.
Old and can shoot. And is, good size. He's 6'8", 6'10", excuse me.
6'10", yeah.
The Rooster, according to Basketball Reference is his nickname. 6'10", he can really shoot the ball. Career 38% three-point shooter on 5.8 attempts per game. But, I mean, he went through a stretch there during his prime and before, during kind of the late Denver and the Clippers days where he was shooting 39% on 6.5 attempts. So really elite shooter. He played a year with Billy Donovan, I believe, in OKC in 19 and 20. And yeah, I mean, if he still has it, that's kind of the risk with these type of players is he's 35, 36 years old. He is a year plus removed away from an ACL surgery. Is he really going to be able to contribute? Or is it just really the idea of him that's left? And I think he kind of showed a little bit this year that he can still play, but obviously he would not be like 36 minutes a night kind of player.
Right.
But I think having that sort of synergy, similar to some of these other connections on our list here, at a position of need, providing a element of need, right? The shooting. He's not going to be a movement shooter, but he can really space out the floor and create a little bit. So if he's still got it, I think he could be really productive. I think you're going to have to beat out some other contenders. I feel like a team like the Suns would really put him in a great position. So we'll just kind of see what's out there. But I think he could be one of the better options just as far as adding that element of shooting that this team really needs.
Pique your curiosity or interest at all, Dave?
Yeah, honestly, he does. He really does. He feels like one of those guys that I want, and that kind of fits with the Bulls. You need size. Let's start there. I'm not saying he's going to be in there banking with you, getting rebounds and stuff like that. That's not what he does. But you need somebody that has some size. That's not a guard on this team. We have 1 million guards, so you got somebody that can play the 3, the 4, and cheat at the 5 if you need to. You can cheat with it. Not saying it's going to work because Gallinari can't play center, all right? He can't play 5. No. But you can cheat there if you decide to. You have someone who has been in the league long enough and has a cold-blooded streak in him. Somebody who can hit those shots for you, who's not afraid to take the shots, which is the most important part, I thought, to me, is a person that's not afraid to take those shots. Gallinari will take those shots, absolutely. You give it to him within the rhythm of the offense, he's open. He's going to pull the trigger on that. If it goes in, we'll see. But he's not afraid to take those shots at all. And you got a guy that you can play either at the starting position or you can bring him off the bench. Like, he fits in that kind of way for the Chicago Bulls. So I like his style, and I like the way he plays. I like the fact that he's a veteran, and the Bulls are lacking a lot of that, on their team. And I just feel like he fits on this team. I really like his fit on the Chicago Bulls with Gallinari. I do.
Our guy Fish in the comments said he runs like 3 miles an hour. Yeah, he would fit in swimmingly.
Yes.
Or I guess you could say he would fit in treadingly with this Bulls offense that ranks 30th in the NBA in pace.
The bars. Weren't the Bulls after him for a season?
I mentioned there were talks tying him to the Bulls in that free agent summer of 22.
Right. Okay, almost right. Yeah,
and then he went to Boston instead because who wouldn't go play for the Celtics?
Because he
instead of going to the Bulls,
tore up his ACL or something like that. Yeah. Ended up there. So there was mutual. I shouldn't say mutual.
There was at least one-way interest.
Right, exactly. There was one way.
Bulls had a crush on Danilo Gallinari, and he kept them hardly in the friend zone.
Correct. So the Bulls have had their eyes on him, I should say, for a while. They know what they wanted from him, but I see the fit, and that's the thing about
now
it.
Now that he's a couple years older and has had an ACL tear, maybe he's going to lower his standards and let the Bulls call him. And
you know what? I was wrong.
Baby
girl, I was wrong.
Speaking of forwards who are 6'10" and can shoot, let's talk about Davis Bertans real quick.
Bertans!
Also 6'10".
What was his
He's
nickname?
Shooting
Latvian laser.
Thank you. Latvian laser.
Shooting nearly 42% from 3
nice
this
pick,
season.
Joey.
But averaging just 6 minutes per game in 15 games played thus far this season. Can you explain his lack of usage so far, Will?
I mean, he had a couple of good seasons with the Spurs. He moved to the Wizards and put up some numbers. And then when he was traded to the Mavericks and then later OKC and now Charlotte, I just don't think he's that good anymore. I think he kind of had some moments, and he can really shoot it. Really shoot it. But he's 6'10". He can't really defend for threes or fives. He's very much a one-position defender.
Yes.
He does have good size, so it's not like he's going to kill you there. But, he's just out there to shoot. And he can come off screens. He can give you that movement shooting ability. I think just a little bit less intriguing to me, but kind of along the same lines as Gallo or Korkmaz, but he really can shoot it. And but the fact that he kind of fell out of favor in Dallas, even where you're basically getting served up wide open 3-point attempts playing alongside Luka.
Yes.
It just, I don't know, something about that kind of rubs me the wrong way.
You took the words right out of my mouth, right there, dog. Like when you're playing with a guy who's looking for you to just be open, and he will give you the basketball, and you will have ample opportunity to score, and you weren't doing it. Like that is a red flag to me right there. I appreciate the laser. You know what I mean? I've seen him be hot, like especially when he was in Washington on that team. And I just don't see the fit on the Chicago Bulls. I talked about when we talked about Killian Hayes, like being bad at all kind of field goal, 3-point, and free throw. Like you see that he was bad at field goal, but the 3-point and the field goal were on point. You got that, right? But the Bulls need somebody who can come in and actually use the size that they have. They need somebody who could do that. They're not in a position to cheat defensively. They're not. They need somebody, if they're going to be that big, to come in and help the team along with getting them 3-point shots on the other end. I don't care about the field goal percentage, but the 3-point percentage is sexy.
He's not there to take 2-point
right,
shots.
exactly. Come on, Will. He's not there to do those kind of things right there. He's there to get you those 3-point shots. But on the other end, he's got to give you a little bit of something, because especially if I'm going to have Vooch out there with you, you've got to cheat. I got to cheat you on some of those possessions right there. And if teams know I can just go running right around you and score, that balance of a 2 for 3 is going to come into play real quick. So I would pass on that.
I would also add that he is currently on the Hornets and playing, so he's also not been bought out yet.
He did play in
Maybe a
the
moot
2
point.
games Charlotte has had since he got traded.
Okay.
But I think, you're mentioning the defensive element to
Yes,
it,
sir.
and I think, like, in a lot of ways, to me, versatility matters more than just size.
Talk to me,
Not
man.
saying you disagree with, just
No,
that's kind of my thought on it.
What
Is
do you
like
mean by that?
a guy like Bertans or Gallinari, they're going to give you height, but they can't really move. They can't switch. They can't slide over and protect the rim. They're just kind of there, and they're going to get hunted on the other end in pick and rolls. Like, I would rather have a smaller guy that, like Ayo, for example, who's, he's technically like a point guard, but he's not really a point guard on this team. He does not play point guard because he's out there with Kobe. He's out there with DeMar. He's playing off guard, but because he's so versatile, he's so strong, he's so long and fast, he's able to do a lot defensively and then can also give you some secondary creation.
Right.
Like, to me, you obviously want that shooting, but the versatility defensively, I think, matters almost as much as any of these offensive elements.
But I think, and even to add to that, Will, like I feel like some of the best players in the league aren't playing the same position as the Latvian laser right there. There aren't many 6'10" dudes who are out there dominating you, and the ones we know, which are Jokic, which are Embiid, and which are Giannis. You know what I mean? But just middle of the pack guys like that, they're usually forwards and guards, like that. So you need more of that kind of thing, and you can't cheat with that, especially when you can't play that defense at that position right
He's
there.
a one-element player.
Correct.
And you kind of need to have a couple of different things.
Absolutely right.
We've got people on both sides in the comments. Optimistic Bulls fan saying no to Bertans. Dan pointing out that Bertans did kill the Bulls before.
That's a bad reason to get him.
He's not. I wouldn't say Davis Bertans is firmly on the Bulls killer all-time roster.
He's not.
He's had a couple of good games against the
yes.
Bulls, but I agree, bad reason to get him.
Yeah.
How did Luke Cornett and Tony Bradley work out?
Yeah, and Satoransky.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Flex Diggs, meanwhile, just saying, Jesus Christ, this list is awful. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's the buyout candidate list.
Right, exactly.
Because AK said, I want to remain competitive.
Yes.
And the buyer's market was too competitive.
Come on, Matt.
So we couldn't afford to add any talent to this
on, Matt.
roster. So we're going to have to settle by doing it on the buyout market instead of trades. And that is being competitive. Nah, couldn't have just said, hey, what about pivoting and becoming sellers and getting quality value for pieces that we have currently that other teams want? No, that would have made too much freaking sense. Ooh. Yeah, so I'm not super happy about talking about this buyout list either. But that's the reality of where we are. Not our fault, Bulls fans.
No.
Their fault. Okay, real quick. We're running out of time. Do we want to talk House or do we want to talk Harris?
Harris.
I think let's talk Harris. Yeah, he was the one that was kind of linked to the Bulls.
Yeah.
Casey Johnson mentioned him as somebody that the Bulls were talking about with the Zach LaVine trade.
Somebody who used to be a legit piece.
And then
Sure.
also after getting traded, he was traded, right? I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah.
Was he bought out or was he traded?
Maybe bought out.
I can't remember.
One second, I'm
at the moment.
checking
I can
right
look it
now.
up in a second.
Talk.
But either way, he's been
He was cut.
He's been
He was
not
waived.
good.
Joey say
He was
cut.
waived on deadline day.
He just has not been good since his ankle surgery 2 years ago. 6'6" wing. He's 32 years old, and he really was, the prototypical Max Strus kind of movement
My
shooter
God.
type
Yes,
that I
he
think
was.
would fit really well The problem is he just has not really had it over the last couple of years. I was talking to somebody over there in Detroit, and they said, like, I said, is he washed or is he injured, or like, why has he not been in the rotation with the Detroit Pistons, who really have been like craving floor spacing? And he was like, he had one good game, but he's just not there anymore. It's just he sounds like a really good guy and a great player.
Yeah,
great mentor, I should say, but just does not quite have that same level of play at this point in his career, unfortunately.
Yeah, the second I heard he was available, I was like, the Bulls are going to sign him. It just felt like something they were going to get. The numbers are depressing for a guy that we saw win a three-point shooting contest. And actually, you know why I remember it is because I picked him out of a hat and his name, and it actually got me paid when we were doing Bulls Outsiders. So shout out to Joe Harris for getting me some checks. I appreciate you like that. And, of course, like you mentioned, he fits certain profiles, being 6'6", being a guy that's known as a shooter. And even the fact that he can't shoot well doesn't deter me, because teams don't know that. All they know is that, oh, shit, Joe Harris can shoot.
You got to be with him, yeah.
Right. They're like, we got to stay on Joe Harris. And so it brings, people away from him. But what deters me, that free throw shooting depresses me. When I saw that number right there for his free throw shooting, that depressed me a little. The field goal percentage, again, for a guy that's a three-point shooter, I don't even concern myself with. But the fact you got to get to the line sometimes, because you can shoot, really depresses me. His 6'6" frame is what you need. His age, and being a veteran is kind of what you need. His three-point shooting, just his fear of it, is kind of what you need. But he's got to knock some of that shit down, and he hasn't been able to do that. And on top of that, Matt,
he's averaging one free throw attempt per game in his career.
Yes. And on top of that, Matt,
who cares?
The 50%, even at 1%, is still shitty. Regardless, it's still shitty.
This season, in his 16 appearances for Detroit, he's averaging 0.1 free throw attempts per game.
It's still shitty as shitty, Matt. If you shoot one and you're a shooter, it's still shitty.
He's just 1 for 2 this year.
Yeah. And that's still shitty.
Last year he was 18 for 28. He's a career 77%. So I think just the lack of volume.
I still don't like that you're 77% and you're a shooter. If you're a shooter, I expect you to be in the 80s and 90s. Honestly, that's where I expect you to be. If you're a guy that can shoot threes, how do you shoot in the 70s? You shouldn't be shooting Joakim Noah's percentage.
Hey.
All right?
Hey, oh.
Relax.
Why you gotta bring Joe into this?
Calm yourself, all right? Relax.
It's a ridiculous comparison.
How is it? Joakim Noah known as a shooter?
No.
All right, that's my point.
He was not out there shooting threes.
But my point is you shouldn't be battling for him for a free throw percentage. But you're known as a shooter.
It's a moot point because he's not shooting free throws.
But dude,
who cares?
Because even if you're known as a shooter, I still have to figure at the free throw line. That's my opinion.
I hear your point. I completely disagree.
We can disagree. That's fine. That's fine.
Like, who gives a shit?
That's fine. We can
I'm
disagree.
shooting 50% from the free throw line on 0 free throw attempts.
Let him get fouled.
If you can hit from the 3-point line, then who cares?
Let him get fouled at the 3-point line and go up there and miss that shit. Miss all three. Then what you gonna say? All right. So, but my point is this: like Joe Harris just seemed like somebody the Bulls wanted to sign. All right, but the fact that he can't stay healthy either, is probably the biggest issue here. He is always injured. Always injured. Always injured.
It's okay though, Dave. The Bulls have the best medical staff in the NBA.
and that depresses me. That depresses me. So it's the fact that Joe Harris can't stay healthy, and the fact that he doesn't shoot a high 3-point percentage. We can argue about the free throw percentage.
Yeah.
Look at his 3-point percentage. What he's supposed to be. It's not high at all, is it? It is not. So if he can't do that, and he can't do those other things, and he can't stay healthy,
right?
Damn.
Also, for the record, I was not advocating for the Bulls adding Joe Harris. I was just saying I don't give a crap about free throw percentage for a player who shoots no free throws.
I think they took that.
I am not advocating for the Bulls to sign any of these people.
Right.
Not Danuel House?
Real quick.
That's how I feel about him. He is on your list as well, Goat. There you see quickly, if you're on YouTube, his stats. Another wing, potential buyout candidate.
The James Harden running mate.
3-and-D wing,
Joey.
as Will, you pointed out,
Did he get kicked out of the
a
bubble?
defender who you can't rely on for a whole lot of
He
shooting,
did.
right?
He got kicked
At
out of
this
the bubble.
point,
You're
yeah.
right.
And I mean, he's really been kind of like the Daryl Morey poster boy for like
Yeah.
3-and-D wing that you want to have around a James Harden. But Daryl Morey's even moved off of him.
Yeah.
So I think his best days are behind him. I don't think he'd be bad. He's only 30 years old. But just I think if you want to get a shooter in there, you got to get a shooter in there. And if you want to get a defensive player there, maybe you go for Danuel House.
Yeah. I just also want to point out real quick, back to my free throw comparison.
Oh, God.
Steve Kerr did not shoot more than 0.7%, 0.7 free throws a game. He still shot 86% from the free throw line.
You think Max Strus
My
is a good
point
shooter?
is, if you're a shooter, you're supposed to shoot well from there. He shoots ass from the free throw line, dog. You still have to shoot better.
He's 77 career.
Dude, 86 is what Steve Kerr is. 0.7
It's a moot-
is his attempts.
it's a moot point.
0.7 is his attempts. He shoots 86%. You have to be that.
Okay, so like in tight game scenarios for the second three-peat Bulls, maybe you have Steve Kerr out there go down and knock down a crucial technical free throw.
You
right?
don't trust Joe Harris?
No, I'm saying no. Joe Harris isn't taking that free throw like Steve Kerr would, because he's not the guy who's taken a critical technical free
No,
throw.
my point
late
is-
in the close game. What?
Did you not hear my point?
I heard your point. I think it's completely.
I think
moot
we
and
got to
irrelevant.
agree to disagree on this one, fellas.
We can disagree on it, but I guarantee you if the dude gets fouled on the three-point shot at the end of a game and he's missing them damn free throws, that's going to come into play when you're shooting 50%.
I sincerely hope that the Bulls do not find themselves in that situation. is all
But he's
I'm
a
asking.
shooter, right? He might be on the floor.
It's such a specific niche argument for why not to like a guy.
I gave you other reasons why not to like him. I gave you many other
Yeah,
reasons.
sure.
Just quick trivia.
The fact that you're harping on that one is just wild.
Yeah, because
to
you
me.
tried to crap on that one.
Quick
Yeah,
trivia.
exactly.
Because it's wrong. Because you're wrong.
No, I am
50%
not.
or 86% is different.
I am not.
You are wrong.
You care way too much
You
about this tiny,
are
little,
wrong.
irrelevant thing.
Well, then why won't you admit you're wrong?
Because I'm not wrong.
It's tiny and irrelevant, but I'm not wrong.
No, I'm saying the thing that you're harping on is tiny and insignificant.
But you're wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm not. We're out of time. If y'all
Go look
want
at the
to
numbers.
and haven't done it yet, go read that buyout market column from our guy, the GOAT, on allchgo.com. There's more details in there and more of GOAT's thoughts. Good stuff. We are back tomorrow. Bulls back in action. Their last game before All-Star break, taking on the hot Cleveland Cavaliers.
Hot.
Yikes.
Fuego.
6:30 Central tip-off. They're on ESPN tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We were
I
so
won't-
excited.
I won't say until pregame tomorrow what I want to see happen on a nationally televised
Oh, really?
game.
We don't know what that feels, what wants to happen, really.
Gonna keep you on-
I'm shocked.
Gonna keep on
Oh, my
suspense for
God,
that.
guys.
Join
You
us
guys-
for pregame tomorrow, 6 o'clock Central Time. In the meantime, allchgo.com is where you can find Will's writing. It's also where you can find our merch locker. Grab the new Sub-Zero design, available in the tee and the hoodie now. Follow Will_Gottlieb, Big Dave, Bow, BAWL Sports to hear all about how critical free throws and free throw percentages.
Wait to hear you what they hear. It's not important.
Yeah. You can follow
Yeah, no,
Bulls
go ahead,
underscore
follow.
pack if you want to hear about how free throws aren't
50% is
important.
awesome for Matt.
Yeah,
it's great.
CHGO_Bulls is our team Twitter handle. And we'll talk to y'all tomorrow for pregame. Hit that like on your way out if you haven't done it yet. Appreciate you. And talk to you soon. Be good. Peace. Furkan Korkmaz!
We all silly.